Okay, so in the last video we were looking at these kind of shapes, okay, manipulating and kind of building shapes from simple shapes, right? A square, a circle, and a triangle. And now we're going to turn some of these into 3D to think about what they actually look like. So we spoke about a water dispenser last time as to what we're going to design, and let's just run with that as an idea, okay? And what we can think about is, let's take this really, really simple shape to start with, okay? And I'm going to just draw it up here so we've got a reference of it. It's something like this, okay? Proportions are slightly different. This one's a little bit taller, but you'll get the idea as to what we're going with. So that is the shape we're going to work with. What we're going to do is we're going to use simple technique using the oblique shape or an oblique box to help us. And what an oblique box is it's pretty much just, if I kind of give myself some verticals here, draw some lines back from this corner, back from this corner, back from this corner, all parallel to each other, and then draw some vertical lines here and a horizontal line here. So these are parallel and these are parallel. You can now see we have kind of a 3D shape. And it is, in simple terms, just two squares in front of each other, slightly offset, and then joined by those lines. That's basically what we're working with. And all we're going to do is we're going to make this into an oblique shape. All right, so if I was to take this shape again and give myself this oblique box to work into, so if I bring myself over here, like so, and I've got this shape, so it's kind of drawing up to the top here. We're going up to the top like so. And then I've got my oblique box like this. That's not perfect, but you get the idea again. What I can do is I can draw back from this point to the back point. So I'm drawing parallel to this line from here. So that's going to be parallel to this line from here, going back. Dark line back there. For this one, it's a bit more tricky. So we're going from this corner up to that point, okay? So on the back face, it's going to be from this corner up to this point. So we're going to draw from there up to there like so. And very, very quickly, we now have a three-dimensional shape of this initial design. And you can do that for as many of these as you want. So let's take another one quickly. Let's take this kind of, which one should we go for? Let's go for this circle shape, it's a bit more interesting. So we can take our little square that we've got, and it basically, it's a circle here. Got this bit that comes down, this bit that comes across. It's got a cutout over here, and then this circle joins up there, that curve joins up there. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going with, right? So we're going to put it into another oblique box, so we're going to do exactly the same thing. I'll whiz through this, it won't be perfectly accurate, but you'll get the idea. My angles are slightly off there. Everything is parallel. Okay, so on this front face, we've got this part that comes down, we've got the part that comes across, like so, and then we've got this kind of curved section, like this, that goes up to a straight line, and then we've got a curved section there. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the back face, but to make it easier, I'm going to draw back parallel to these two lines from this point. So that's going back parallel there. From this point, parallel back. So these are all parallel. This point here is quite useful as well. So I can go back and I can draw parallel to my lines. Doesn't matter how long it is for now, it will in a second. And the rest, we can't really see that easily. Now this line, similar angle, okay, well not similar, we want the exact same angle. So we know that that angle was kind of like that. And then this angle here from this point to where that meets is going to be very, very similar. Okay, and that's why that length of this line going back didn't matter. Now we can see a little bit of this curve down here. So if we imagine the curve on the back face is something like this, you can then join these two up. Okay, we've got that curved part. Same on the back part here. We can just see a little bit of that top bit, but it's curving away like so. Okay, and very quickly we have a 3D shape from there. Now, this isn't going to sit very easily on the floor as a water dispenser, so this is where maybe you need to start thinking about how realistic it is. Okay, but for now, we're just building shapes and getting ideas to then work into a little bit later. So what you could do from there is you could change it up a little bit and manipulate things slightly. So let's take this idea and let's do something to make it a bit more interesting. And again, this is using one idea, turning into hopefully lots of ideas. So I'm going to draw my oblique, like so. And here we go. I'm just going to draw the back face as well because it will make it a little bit easier for you to understand what's actually happening. So there's our oblique. In terms of this front section, proportions are a little bit different again, but it doesn't matter. Just coming up with ideas. So there's our front one. And this time on the back, we're going to shrink it down a little bit. So we're going to not have this pass on the top. We're going to go maybe halfway. So we know that halfway is about there, but I'm also going to go a little bit lower down, and I'm going to keep this kind of angle down to the corners. So it keeps stretched out at the base. And then we've got these kind of two shapes at the back and the front. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this corner and this corner. Like so, and I'm going to connect this corner and this corner. Okay, and then I can connect these corners here. And very quickly, we have got a very different shape. Not very different, but we have got a different shape to what we had initially. Okay, and it's got a nice curve to it, a nice slant, which maybe is going to be a bit more interesting to the eye as we come and design the product. So there's using two of our planes. What we could then do down here is we could do exactly the same thing. So I've got my square to start with the initial shape on. So we're always starting with this initial shape that we had at the beginning up here. And I'm going to draw back like so. Right, that's not very good. Back like so, like this, back like this, back like this. Remember, all these are always parallel. We're going vertical here, and we're going horizontal at the back here like this. The more time and care you take with this, the better it will be. And there, like so, and I can connect this corner and this corner up. Like this, good. Okay, and then we can do maybe something where we split this in half. Now, because this is long, it's going to look a little bit strange, but it will give you an idea as to what we are getting at. And then this time, maybe on the back, we have our piece that's quite tall, like so. On the front, we have our piece that's quite tall. Like so. And in the middle, so this middle plane that we've got, maybe this is where we have something that is a little bit smaller. Nothing crazy. Still using the same shape. And eventually when you get more advanced with this, you can use different shapes. But now we can join this corner up here, like this top corner up here. Like this, we've got this top back corner going to that corner because they're both the same, just in different parts. And then this one going over to here. And then we can just go over nice and darken our kind of outline. And immediately we have a different design altogether. Like so. Okay, and that looks a little bit funky because of all the different lines going on and my poor line weights, but you get the idea, right? So we've gone from a very simple 2D design, 2D sketches, to something a bit more, well, something that is 3D, oblique, and then we've kind of manipulated it by changing what is happening on the different planes. And if you think about all of these designs here, so these 12, 13, 14 designs, we got, what, 1, 2, 3 designs from that very simple shape. Okay, so in terms of that, there's going to be a huge amount of designs that you'll get, depending on how many initial sketches you've gone for, and therefore you should have endless ideas or endless shapes that you can then build into your product. Now, you probably don't want to do that for all of these shapes. You're probably going to choose maybe 3 or 4 that you really like. So maybe you choose this one, maybe you choose this one, and maybe you choose, I don't know, this one down here. And those then become the 3 that you focus on and design some different ideas around them. Okay, so a really good way of manipulating the shapes, manipulating your ideas, and hopefully getting a lot of them.